So I've been thinking a lot over the last couple of years on the differences between how I was raised versus how my brothers were raised, and kind of how that's shaped our different mental health or how society or how we see society kind of. Like I remember growing up being taught a lot in regards to relationship, the value of valuing myself outside of a relationship. Like yes, I still got the standard bullshit from the rest of society that likes to try and pin women or people into relationships and judge their value by there. But I also had community members who were very aware of this trend. And there's also a lot of awareness around domestic violence and trying to keep women out of abusive relationships or helping them escape abusive relationships. And because of that, I feel like I had a lot of people in the community, whether they were friends, family members, teachers, there were men or women, that would try to reinforce to not only me, but to other girls as we grew up that we had value whether or not we were dating someone. Like it was okay to want one and to have it as your life plan, but you weren't failing if you weren't in a relationship or you weren't married by a certain age. And being taught that I was whole and had value outside of a relationship, I feel like helped a lot. Like I had other self-esteem issues from when I was growing up, but they were never really in regards to whether or not I was single or dating someone. They're still not. But looking back, I also don't remember any of my brothers or the boys in my class being taught the same thing. And it wasn't malicious. I think it was just kind of assumed that they didn't need that kind of reassurance or validation. I think it was just due to the misconceptions around not only domestic violence, but how oppression and patriarchy affects both men and women. It just wasn't seen as necessary. But as I've gotten older and lived in society and had to listen to the rhetoric that is often fed back, that their value is usually inherent on how many partners they've had, or if they're married, if they can provide for their wife, or even the opposite, where they get shamed for loving their partner or their wife. But I feel like that's a kind of a huge mistake that we've kind of made as a society, that assuming that boys don't need validation or positive reinforcement in terms of relationship because of patriarchy or whatever societal oppression we got going on, that they're often the top of the pot. And sure, they may not have it as hard as other people, but systems of oppression are designed to hurt everyone. And feeling validation, that's part of the need to belong to a community. And if they don't get that, if men or women don't get that in a healthy way from their community, they're going to find it somewhere else. And this is pure speculation on my part, but I feel like that's part of what is driving younger men or younger white men towards being more alt-right or nationalist. Because even though those systems will hurt them too, it does give them a sense of belonging and temporary, at least, validation. And validation can be very addicting if you don't get it anywhere else. And while I think it's important, very critical to call out toxic things in our society when we see them, I also think it's equally important to try to build towards a better, more healthy society and how we interact with each other. But long story short, I wanted to share the message of validation that I often heard when I was a kid with everyone here on the. And while this message applies equally to anyone, regardless of your background, your ethnicity, your gender, your orientation, for the reasons I just explained, I want to address it specifically to young men. So if you are a young man, I would like to take this time to remind you, if you don't already know, that your life has inherent value by itself, that you do not need a relationship to be whole, that you are worthy regardless of if you have dated, slept with anyone, or even kissed someone. You still have value as a person. And that does not and will not change regardless of what others or society will tell you. And despite what society and other people will try to tell you, that does not change. Your value as a human being and as a person, as a life, does not depend on how many people you sleep with. So whether you sleep with a lot of people or you're still a virgin at 30 or 35, that does not change. The important things to relationships is not whether or not or how fast you get into a relationship. It is treating the other person with respect, but also ensuring they treat you with respect in turn. And this got kind of long, so I might just make a separate clip of just the message to put in a separate video that's shorter. And even if this message only really reaches or helps one person, I feel like that makes it worth it, right?